This video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy, Camel, and I don't know about you guys, but this week is flying past for me. I've got a bunch of things to talk about today, from inflation to a little bit of crack pipery. We're going to do that on a Thursday. I've got some bullish Bitcoin charts, and again, I want to continue to beat that same drum of there's a lot of ground to cover in terms of price, most probably, but not a lot of ground in terms of time. Then we're going to hop into some charts as ever and continue to hunt for these cycle lows and half cycle lows. So in the meantime, hit that subscribe button, follow along, watch us find these cycle lows in real time as always. So we know that we've had this CPI print that came out. It was a little bit kind of sticky, and that's fine, right? We expected that because of the trueflation that we've been watching. But then yesterday, PPI came out and is at a level that last time it was seen, the Fed was cutting 50 basis points right before the election. So on the right-hand side here is the PPI data. You can pause your screen and take a good look at this. The reality is, we've been talking about this for a long time. Anything you do to the M2 rate of change shows up in the inflation data, right? Albeit with a lag, down, sideways, on our way down towards a short period of asset price deflation. So the inflation data continues to support the disinflationary hypothesis. And at the same time, we've got DT coming out here and saying he's going to fire Powell soon. And the big question is, can Trump actually fire Powell? Well, under the Federal Reserve Act, the board members, including the chair, Powell, can only be removed for cause, which courts have historically interpreted as serious misconduct, not for policy disagreements. So the current Federal Reserve chair has stated that his removal is not permitted under law except for such reasons, which does actually limit the presidential power to fire members of these independent agencies, like the Fed. So technically, he can't fire him, at least not just simply for disagreeing with him on interest rate policy. But of course, it can go to court and they can go back and forth. And if the court can find that Jay Powell is acting with malicious intent, then of course he could indeed be fired. Will that be able to be proven? I don't know. How long will that take to even prove it? Because I imagine a court thing would bounce back and forward over and over and over again. Marco's got an interesting perspective on this. Will Powell get fired? He doesn't think so. But he doesn't think these attacks on Powell will stop either. The president cannot fire Powell, but Congress can. The bar for firing Powell is high, and it's all a matter of interpretation, as we were just saying in the previous slide. With that said, renovating Fed buildings sounds like a procedural thing and not something the Fed chair should be fired for. It's hardly a probable cause. Ultimately, if Powell gets fired, this admin could stand to lose the most popularity in the doldrums. For anyone thinking mortgage rates are way too high now, they would skyrocket if Powell was to get fired. There would also be huge disruption across markets, yields through the roof, which is the exact opposite of what this admin is trying to achieve. Sure, the Fed could finance the government directly at the auctions, but that's, put mildly, financial suicide. In addition, putting a yes man in instead of Powell is not enough to ensure the Fed mindlessly cuts rates, or that it does unlimited QE again. Whoever comes in next would still need to face other governors and regional Fed presidents. That person cannot exert their own will unless the majority of the voters agree. So what are they going to do? Fire everyone at the Fed and put their own yes men in again? What else can they do? Coerce them to become yes men? Such a scenario feels way overstretched. So Powell is more useful as a Fed chair, and you can think of it like insurance. If the economy tanks, politicians have the perfect scapegoat. He maintained rates way too high for way too long and was overly restrictive, and this created a recession. Should be an easy sell, right? So it's not us, it's Powell. It makes zero sense to squander such valuable insurance. With all that said, moments after all of this attack began, Trump then came out and said he's actually not planning to do anything regarding Powell. So pretty funny. There was also a clip going around where Trump was blaming Biden for putting Powell in the Fed chair position, but funnily enough, it was actually Trump that put him there, right? So did he just forget that he was the one that put him there, or is there some bit of resentment going on? I don't know. But for now, at least, I still think what's most probable is this is going to continue for a while longer, and Powell will step down once he has fulfilled his role, as per that video I made on such topics. In other news, yesterday, the US had 85% less Bitcoin than previously reported, and Max Kaiser has been warning that centralized Bitcoin holdings via ETFs and custodians could become the target in future government crackdowns. Now, this is all pretty speculative, admittedly, but as ever, there's no smoke without fire. And you can see here the full list of Bitcoin holdings. Request date was March 24, and the response is from today. The total Bitcoin holdings are this number here, or approximately 3.4 billion at current market prices. US Marshal Services liquidated assets in public auctions, so unless they announced a sale, this list should be accurate. And so the big question for me, at least, is, was this under the Biden regime that this was occurring? Is it Biden that was dumping the Bitcoin? If so, it's likely Trump is going to buy it back, right? Or have they been kind of selling us all this hopium, right? Have they been telling us that they are building a Bitcoin strategic reserve? They're aiming for 1 million Bitcoin to hold for the Bitcoin strategic reserve, and under the hood they thought they could quietly get away with dumping it. As ever, my approach to this is the same as it always is, which is if the Bitcoin price doesn't care, then neither do I. So far the Bitcoin price does not care, but I think it's going to be interesting for us to continue to monitor that. Meanwhile, has gold already shown us the future for Bitcoin? On the left here is the gold chart. You can see this big type pattern here that ultimately resolved to a huge breakout in the price of gold. Very similar setup at the hard right edge for Bitcoin. Is something like this coming next for Bitcoin? I'll leave that up to you to decide. Another similar look here. We've seen it once before, right? A big parabolic advance into the ultimate top. Is that what we're in the middle of right now? If you don't like those giant targets of the 2, 3, 400,000 type neighborhood, perhaps something more like this measured move target to 141k is more within your realm of realistic expectations. I'm still making the case that all of this is 1 into 2. This should be 3 into 4 weekly cycle low, and then 5, perhaps with that 141k for the top target of the wave 3 before then correct weekly cycle low 4 and 5. And so, as I said right at the start, I think Bitcoin has got a lot of price ground to cover in a very short period of time. But the reason I say short period of time is historically, if you take from the halving, the low is about 500 days before the halving, with a peak coming about 500 days after. It's been the same in every case. And if this is going to continue to play out, and I have no reason to doubt that it is, at least at this moment in time, that tells us the top for this bull run is probably sometime in the September-October time frame. So yes, I still think we can be extremely bullish and climb to much higher numbers, but in terms of time, you can see right here, we are actually running out of time. We are slowly but surely, day by day now, approaching the end of this expected bull phase of the 4-year cycle. And I stumbled into this VIX seasonality chart, which I thought was pretty interesting because this kind of tells us we're going to continue down into the end of this month, and then there should be some volatility arising. And of course, that all kind of aligns with those flushes into the weekly cycle lows as well. So are we going to get something like this repeat? I'm still yet to long the VIX because the setup doesn't have the kind of momentum I was looking for yet. So maybe, just maybe, we're going to get a little bit more of a flush. And we have to be honest, if we continue to flush like this bit here, then we're going to very rapidly be in my extremely long-term held target zone down here, sub 12 between the two green bars. So pretty wild times, right? And last but not least, before we get into some charts, make no mistake about it, I am still hugely bullish on gold. And as Grady says here, there will be no bubble phase this time in the gold bull market, because this time around, after the final third bull move, this one here with huge percent written on it, the world will have a new monetary system backed by gold. This will pin gold at the highs value-wise, meaning there is no bubble. And again, this fits with what I've been saying over and over again, that they are going to revalue the price of gold higher and use it to plug some of the holes in the debt, possibly back the CBDCs by at least gold, if not a basket of other assets containing gold. And again, I stand here and tell you that nobody is bullish enough on this gold chart. I don't think anyone's targets are high enough, and I think mine are the highest that I've seen. I left myself a little note here, DNN. One of the Camel Crew pointed out that this was not working with the indicator, and I thought this would be a good time to mention a couple of things. Number one, if you find a chart that it's not working on, please do email the team or raise a support ticket or post it in the members section of the website. There's a whole tab dedicated for that, and we'll make sure that it does work. But also, I thought this was a nice time to show off something that I negated to cover yesterday, and that is that now we're running this update, you can scroll down to here to fine-tune asset selection, and you can run your own custom count on this. So you can select from a drop-down menu. If that doesn't work, you can modify a bunch of these other things. There are actually 90 settings behind this indicator, and we've given you a bunch of them that you can toggle, including things like faster confirmations and a bunch of other factors. So if you want to switch this on, you can fine-tune it. If you're the type of trader that trades much lower time frames, then feel free to hop down to those and fine-tune it to make it better. So for any asset that is unoptimized down here, like I said, you can go in there and change your own counts. You can run your own custom settings and fine tune it to the asset that you require. And again, as I said, you can raise a support ticket, post it in the members section of the website, and the team will add it to the list of things to work towards. But you can see just running this gold mine account on this mining stock, once again, identifies the lows, confirms them all, happy days, right? Long and strong out of the upcoming cycle window. So this tool is incredibly powerful. I just wanted to show you that flashy stuff that we continue to add to this thing to make it better and better each day. For the stock market, it seems that we're well on our way to finding a daily cycle low. I will say this, the sideways price action here makes me wonder if this is the true blow off top moment, right? And this is going to confirm via time. Now, on a balance of probabilities, it's not the smart bet to aim for this via time, but a timing based low can't be ruled out here, especially if we continue to go sideways. So hopefully the yellow squiggle continues to do yellow squiggle things. We'll get a little pullback into that 20-second time frame, and then I think we should get a daily cycle low to get behind. But just keep an eye, because if the thing keeps going sideways, by the time we get to about the week of the 21st, then we might actually be looking at a huge green candle to confirm the next cycle is in and confirmed via time. Gold's still chopping around, hanging around, doing a whole heap of nothing, isn't it? Silver continues to look to lead, so happy days there, and we are of course positioned via the SilJ positions from the level 3 members section. Again, no real changes there. And Bitcoin, I don't know if we're going to make another high before we head for that half cycle low, or whether that is the top, and we've already started the 2 drives, right? 1, 2, half cycle low, 20-second, and off we go. Doesn't have to be that low. I actually don't think this is going to come much lower than about 108k, but time will tell on that. I should also mention, because I didn't mention it the other day, that whilst the half cycle lows are most often observed, okay, we don't have to have one, so this thing could continue just to grind up like this, and it be very, very shallow into the 20-second and then continue on. But I think based on all the other charts I'm looking at the moment, I would not at all be surprised if we do get a little flush down to about 108-ish K for the 20-second. And then it should be resumption of the banana zone, okay? So happy days there. I'm noticing these crypto stocks showing a lot of relative strength compared to Bitcoin at the moment. So again, capturing those via the level 3 member section, it almost looks like MicroStrategy is ready to push to new highs as well, and a bunch of these other ones are doing well. So again, happy days, right? We'll keep taking it one day at a time. We'll keep managing the risk. We'll keep doing the basics right, and we'll keep that situational and contextual awareness. Other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the week, and I'll be back tomorrow with more of the same. Until next time, take care from me. All the best. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game.